I scoured online and found a list of some awesome comic runs that still have yet to be collected in any trade paperback, hardcover, or omnibus format. Drop down below one of your favorite runs, whether it's already collected or not, and don't forget about the 50,000 subscriber winner that's going to get an ASM 300 9/8 white pager. This is in no particular order. Denny ONeal's Batman run. Now, the Denny ONeal with Neal Adams stuff has been collected many times. Neal Adams' art gets all the love in all the collections, but much of Denny ONeal's writing remains scattered and uncollected. Considering how pivotal this work is, it feels like a pretty bad omission. Daredevil and Black Widow, so Daredevil 92 through 107 is when we got Daredevil and Black Widow teaming up. They even changed the name of the title. This has been tucked away in Marvel Masterworks, but a dedicated trade paperback or some sort of collection of just this spot does not exist. Darkhawk, you're going to find some 90s entries for some runs that went 50 or more issues that have yet to get any sort of trade or omnibus. Darkhawk's one of the biggest ones, and despite a meme-fueled popularity and dedicated fan base, it's a 50-issue run that's never seen it, and honestly, it's pretty hard to collect the whole thing. Those final 10 issues are pretty scarce, so an omnibus would be a no-brainer. One of the worst ones on here is Star Squadron, fan favorite from the 80s. 67 issues and 3 annuals, and the only collected versions is a black and white Showcase Presents collection of the early issues. Are you kidding me? If New Teen Titans can get a volume 9, why can't we have this? Azrael by Denny ONeal. I know what you're going to say. Yes, sort of Azrael is collected, and even the first little bit of Azrael, I think 1 through 10. Cool. It's a 100-issue run. Kind of weird that we haven't gotten it, and I thought it was pretty good. Maybe that's just memory, but I thought it was pretty good. How about Superman and the Forgotten Heroes? This would be a short one, I think just a trade paperback. Reintroduced in the 80s, this oddball team of Silver Age characters. Animal Man, Rip Hunter, Dolphin. Never got a proper collection. Add their early appearances too, and you've got a pretty cool trade paperback. Next is Morbius, the Living Vampire. Marvel gave Tomb of Dracula the omnibus treatment, but Morbius is still lurking in the shadows. Did you see what I did there? The whole adventure into Fear, where he got his earliest appearances, still has yet to be collected, and I think that's kind of crazy. First Golden Age entry on the list is the Golden Age Phantom Lady, like Police Comics 1 through 23. Famous for iconic artwork and public domain buzz, her early stories still have yet to be collected. Golden Age or not, I know it's hard to remaster and do Golden Age. This seems like a no-brainer. How about Plastic Man? And we're going to ignore the Silver Age. Let's go straight to the Golden Age. Another Golden Age collection left in the dust. Unless you've got the books, this is going to be a particularly expensive run to read. We're talking like virtually untouched. Some of it has been collected, not like 80% of it though. So let's make it happen. Black Orchid. First appearance of Black Orchid in Adventure Comics, and then some of the Phantom Stranger appearances and stories after that. Yet to be collected, it does not exist. Collect them all in one volume, and you've got some cult classic waiting to be rediscovered. DC presents the Omnibus. I think there's, 100? I don't remember how many issues there are, but this does exist in some collected editions that are entirely black and white. There still is no main thing other than those showcase collections. In 2025, that's not cutting it. Let's go back to Golden Age. Some of the Golden Age Captain Marvel and the Marvel family, so Shazam, Captain Marvel, whatever you want to call him, remains largely uncollected. Some of it is, but it's baffling how many issues just get completely ignored in any modern collection. Let's get a trade series. Let's get an omnibus. That would be sweet. How about those Dollar Comics? Remember the Dollar Comics series that came out in the late 70s? Well, you had the Supergirl, which Superman Family was the all-new Supergirl stories, which bridged the gap to Daring New Adventures of Supergirl. But where's the collection? I don't know. Supergirl's pretty hot right now, so maybe it's a good time for DC to make that one. Let's go to Mystery in Space, specifically Ultra the Alien and the Space Cabbie. Mystery in Space featured both of those weirdos, and a flip book style collection would be a blast, just saying. Another one that's really hard to get your hands on for obvious reasons, and you could, bootleg this stuff online, but a collected edition would be nice, man. Another one of the worst ones on the list. Somehow, other than like one 2011 book that collected the first 10 issues, over 100 issues of Superman's girlfriend, Lois Lane, is still not collected. I think you could probably do it in 2 omnibus formats. What are we waiting for? People love this stuff. Trust me, this is one of my best movers from DC. People love Lois Lane. Let's make it happen. All-Star Comics, or most of the Golden Age JSA. Justice Society of America's earliest appearances in All-Star Comics have yet to get the proper comprehensive collected edition, and this is really long past due. I'm sure many people agree. What about the Dynamite duo, Batgirl and Robin? Remember the Batman Family series that came out? I forget how many issues, but you got a lot of Batgirl and Robin teaming up. You also get their first kiss, facing off against Gotham's underrated rogues. It's a charming, weird era that I think could be a really fun trade paperback. You don't find those books very often, and while they're not as expensive as some of that Golden Age stuff, there's not really any keys, so it remains pretty uncollected, the single issues. Titans, the 1999 series. I actually didn't even know about this, but I saw a Comics You've Never Heard Of video by Ultimate Chance, a YouTube channel, who basically said, this is one of the best series you've never read. And I watched the whole video, and yeah, they totally sold me on it. And it might even be one of the most consistent Titans volumes from the sounds of it. Never been collected, though. So, let's fix that. Sergeant Rock, Enemy Ace, and other war comics. War comics have actually gotten a little boost in collector popularity. I think now's the time for a good review, and let's show the Kubert School some love. Let's get that war stuff seen by the next generation. Wrapping up here, we got Aquaman, the Bronze Age. Bronze Age Aquaman shows up randomly in collections, but very specific storylines. A full run hasn't surfaced, and I think that's a massive oversight. Considering some of the arcs in here have major implications to his entire mythos, it's just gotta happen. All right, then we got the Charlton Heroes, like Blue Beetle, The Question, Peacemaker, etc. And it could just be a rights issue, but the lack of collected editions of these legacy characters is pretty disappointing, especially given the renewed visibility we've been getting. At least let's get Blue Beetle. Let's start there. All right, Gotham Adventures. So we've actually gotten trade paperbacks of Batman Adventures and Batman and Robin Adventures. What the hell about the 50-some issues of Gotham Adventures? A particular run I remember very fondly from my childhood. Let's get it done. I would pre-order that so fast. Whew! All right, last one before I give you some honorable mentions goes to The Shadow. Possibly another rights issue. I know Dynamite owns Shadow. It used to be DC. The 70s series has yet to be printed. Some really great art in there. I would love to see it. If DC and Dynamite could kind of get that figured out, maybe we could have a cool little omnibus or a hardcover on our hands here. Here's some honorable mentions, because this video could honestly go on pretty long. And it just goes to show you there's a lot of frickin' runs out there that are beloved by fans that have yet to get any sort of compilation, and they really should. Demon by Alan Grant. Ren and Stimpy, or really any licensed cartoon comic thing. Let's make it happen. The Vigilante run from the 80s. Wasteland by John Ostrander. Blue Devil. Mark Evanier and Dan Spiegel's Black Hawk. Hex, the sort of 80s Mad Max-inspired version of Jonah Hex. Quasar. I love Quasar. Shade the Changing Man by Vertigo was partially collected but not finished. Come on. And I'm sure there's more. Now, I will say omnibuses keep coming out. And maybe in a year, some of these will be not applicable. But while many of these will eventually be collected, I'm sure some of this list might never get the treatment. And that sucks. I think they're perceiving the demand as low, but judging by what I saw online, there's a large populace that would really dig this. So I do notice that a large amount of it's DC. DC, maybe you can use some of that Superman money and give us some of these awesome books here. What are you guys reading? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, keep on hunting.